There we go. Welcome to the temple, Ptah and Sekhmet. Now, I have gone through so many different, like, oh, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do this. And 10 minutes before the class, I was like, usually I've written out reams and reams and reams of stuff. And I'm like, right, we're going to do this, that, the other. And it's kind of there. But I just felt like there was something different coming in, which is why I'm quite happy, like, for a smaller group here, because we get to talk and interact a little bit. And I sense and felt that, like, or we need to go into a little bit of a healing and a clearing, of just like, I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there is a lot of endings and brand new beginnings coming in. And I mean, this is so Ptah and Sekhmet, because I mean, let's just kind of like bring them into the space. Obviously, Ptah is all about, he's the creator god and he's the consort to Sekhmet. So in my videos, like I was saying, preach. Whoa, okay, you don't have to ask me twice. All right, I'm going to roll my sleeves up now. So, so basically with Ptah, I mean, he's been in my space for like, quite a while in the background. And it's like I said to you, the way I understand guides is when you go through a significant shift, right? You have a changing of the guard. And sometimes that's a bit where you feel like, well, what's going on? It's like you feel like there's no one there, but there is someone there, but there's no one there. And everything's a little bit weird and spacious, and it kind of makes you feel like that little baby, when you go, oh, they do that, and it's like that's the changing of the guard. So of course, as we transition into a brand new level now, of course you're going to get this step out and others step in. And I feel and sense that this is the anxiety that I'm feeling, because I think there's a very, very, very big shift coming in. And what is actually happening is it's the false matrix. And we are still a little bit in the false matrix, because I'm literally everywhere I look, I want to vomit, because I'm like, that's just a non-truth. And oh my God, and oh, this. And do you know what I mean? Like things are just not looking that pleasant to me, because I seem to be seeing like I've never seen before, the absolute illusion of everything. I'm like, it's a lie. That's a lie. That's a lie. Yet I'm still in it. And I think the reason why we're being triggered by it quite a lot is because we're about to make the full shift. So we're very, very sort of like sensitive to our truth eyes, as it were. We're like, oh, there it is. Do you know what I mean? And a friend of mine, Iridessa, thank you, love. We were chatting today or the other day, and she was like saying, she sent me something which was the flower of life, and it called it the true flower and the false flower, which is basically referring to the false matrix and the true matrix. Every single thing in your life now is going to be the false matrix, right? Why? Because it's going to upgrade. So in a way, I kind of was like, oh, that's why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling, because now it's literally like, that's done, like clearing and just seeing. Now, yesterday I was at kinesiology and I did a healing session, which was all about, once again, my mother. And I love my mother. Mom, if you're watching, whatever. You know how it is. If my kids are on here, they'd probably be saying, oh, my mom. But it's like I kind of did all of this healing. And I was just like, well, that's the end of that now. I'm not doing any more ancestral healing, not because there's loads to do, but it was like, now I'm calling in Mother Mary, which is the Seven Sorrows Mother Mary. Okay, we have to call it. We have to go, right, okay, when are we done? When are we booking out, right? And so for me yesterday, I felt this whole energy of just like, right, wow, I've done so much ancestral clearing. But if we continue to do that, we don't build the new timeline, which is what Ptah is all about, building the new timeline, right? So at some point, you're going to feel, if you haven't felt already, that's enough healing. Because the thing is, even though you're like still feeling, well, I'm still feeling scared, I'm still feeling anxious and all the rest of it, you're going to feel it, because as long as you're on the healing hamster wheel and as long as you're running on it, the legs are going to keep going. You're always going to find something to dig around on. So surely if we just say, right, okay, that's done, can it please collapse with the old timeline, and any remnants will get sorted out as we jump, rather than staying here and digging around and digging around and digging around. So today at my altar, I said to my ancestors, I was like, this is done. My ancestors, like recent and ancient, we now move together. We now plow forward to the new timeline, because I'm not going backwards anymore, because I cannot. You know what I mean? It's now time to kind of like step forward. So this is very much like bit of an energy update kind of vibe, but it is very much under the banner of Ptah and Sekhmet. And like I say, when I was talking about the changing of the guard and everything like that, Ptah came in about 2 weeks ago, boom, or about a week ago or whatever. And I always feel I'm very aware of all the guides, okay, and all of the people that all the beings I connect with. But then all of a sudden, they'll just come through me and I'm like, oh, here you are. So I never worry about the fact that I haven't connected with Ptah consciously as I have done now, because he will come in when I allow that to happen and the entry of a new guardian comes in or a new guide, ascended master. The fact that you just allow it to happen brings even more information in at their sudden appearance rather than pulling them in before time, right? So the fact that Ptah stepped in now, okay, how long have I been working with Sekhmet? How long have you been working with Sekhmet? And now all of a sudden Ptah's come in and he's just like, right, I'm here. That speaks volumes, absolutely volumes, that basically now, you know, he's stepping in to be the divine balance. So it's the opposing of opposites, right? And it is the divine masculine, you know, that's happening for a reason because it's happening in us, right? So Ptah is the creator god. As we know, he's of creation. He's an architect. He's a craftsman, or his craftsmanship is like up there, or he's a craftsman. He's a master. But my main thing that jumps out at me as far as being a starseed human is that he's a creator of realities. That's what I'm really, really interested in right now. So, of course, creation and chaos. In walks the wife, Sekhmet, and she's all about clearing the chaos, clearing up all of the debris so he can come in and land. So, of course, Sekhmet is the goddess of destruction, war. Okay, so destruction in our world, it doesn't necessarily mean a real full-on war. It means the destruction of just like, you know, maybe like the head chatter or whatever it might be, whatever's preventing you from living in harmony. All right, so basically, yes, we do have a war to clear up on, like physical wars. We do have like sexual abuse and dodgy governments and all that. So there's the big stuff that we can look at there, but we are here to change our own internal reality, and that is how we change that. Right. So it's kind of like really, I mean, I would say right now, these are the two gods that we need to pay attention to because they're in us, right? They're in us, right? So just people joining the room as we speak. So now we have Sekhmet, like I say, she's Ptah's enforcer. So she backs him up as he backs her up. She's an architect. I suppose in a way you could call Ptah an architect and she's an engineer, or the other way around, whatever way you want to look at it, you know, but she protects Ptah and she makes sure that his creations can land. So like I say, they are the opposing forces. And what I've put here, which is kind of like going into what we're going through right now. And you can chime in and agree if you're feeling the same. I've been waking up every single morning because my fear's been really, really big. And it's basically boiled down, and all the healing I've done on myself and everything like that, it's just boiled down to just plain fear. It's not even to do with anything. It's just fear. Literally, I'm just stood in the kitchen being fearful. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I'm just fearful. And that's what it's been like. And it's got no stories attached to it anymore. So I'm just feeling what I'm feeling, right? Fear. Okay. So now I've been saying every morning, I trust myself and I am safe. Soon as I say those two things, so talk about trust and safety, imagine, hey Vanessa, how are you doing? So imagine how you would feel in your life if you trusted yourself, okay? And that would just make you feel safe. Because if you knew that you've got this, no matter what, it'll sort itself out, how differently would you move in your life? How differently and easily and effortlessly would you create a brand new timeline, right? So there's the trusting ourselves. We are spirit. So all of the things, leaving the false matrix behind. Okay. Not believing in that anymore. And I know that a few people have chimed in on what I've been saying because God is, Ptah is the God of the spoken word, right? So in the beginning, there was the word, right? So he spoke everything into being. And we're going to get into that because that's very Heka code stuff, right? So now, like, he's the one that basically, what was I saying? I lost my train of thought now. Hang on a second. 10 tabs open, you see. So what did I say? Oh, yeah, the false matrix. The false matrix. Okay, I still can't remember what I was going to say. My Wi-Fi completely dropped then. Clearly, he was just like, no, that's rubbish. Move on. So we're going to move on. So anyway, I was banging on about trusting yourself. You are safe, leaving behind the false matrix. There was something very important I was going to say there. Anyway, it's gone. But it's important now. Our only job now, really, in essence, if we want to break down this overwhelming, we're like, everything's going on. What's our main thing now between now and December, which is just around the corner? New moon is on the 1st. What are we focusing on? And I personally feel it's basically consciously stepping over to the brand new and literally bringing all of your ancestors with you to step into the new. Any energy I've left behind, or given away, I call back to myself now. I was doing it again today. I was bringing it back from people, places, situations, feeling like so unsafe because now I have to live my truth and I have to know that I have got my back. And that's what I was going to say. It's come back now. So I was talking about Ptah being the spoken word, speaking the idea into being. I'm going to change my name on YouTube saying Marie Coverley. I am Marie Coverley. Why do I have to say Marie Coverley, initiatrix, yada, 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 yada? No one cares. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I am Marie, and it's like this simplicity. And I believe that that is the new timeline. And I was sat with a very, very dear sister that I've just met 2 minutes ago, but we've known each other for lifetimes. She's very, very connected to Sarah, as in Yeshua's daughter. And, she was saying to me, she says, I am Sarah. This is me. And she kept saying it. And I could just feel my whole body just so half the anxiety we've got is all of this fluff that we've put around being spiritual. So I actually want you to write, and you can journal on this. What does being spiritual mean to you? Because it's got lost, let me tell you. It's got lost. We are the decoders. We need to change that narrative. What does it mean? Because it didn't mean what it used to mean. Okay. So really, that will speak volumes as to where you're going as being a space holder, expressing your light in the world. What is it all about? Is half of the stuff that you are carrying, is it too weighty for the new timeline? You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter what's going on here. We are being directed. And you're being asked to jump on the boat and they go, no, you can't bring that 10-ton suitcase. No, you actually can't bring 10 pairs of shoes because you don't need that either. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, you don't need to do all of that, So it's basically like we got to travel light. So we have to cut all of the branches and then like step into the new timeline and understand what our soul feels like when it comes to that, right? And the way that you get rid of all the bump and everything like that is where you call Sekhmet in, okay? And you get her to burn away all of the excess because she knows what you need and what you don't need. So this is where we really work with alchemy with the gods and goddesses, which we're going to get into in a second. Now, the next thing I've written on here is we happen to be going through retrograde right now, which is basically everybody goes, oh, retrograde nightmare. I kind of like it because it brings me back a double time around to look at things and go, oh, look at that. Have you thought about that? What's going on there then? Do you know what I mean? It gives you a second chance to look at things, right? So basically, it's a redirection, whatever way you look at it. So all of us are not exempt to that. All of us are having a redirection. So I want you to also write in your journals because you're going to focus on this. What is it like to be? What does it mean to you to be spiritual? And what is your redirection? Like there is something quite significant that you're going to ask to be done. Now, a couple of months ago, I was channeling Toth, just doing my own channel writing. And I remember writing, thinking, And he said, the work you're going to be doing is nothing like it's going to change completely. Be ready for that change. Don't overthink it. Don't ask me any more on it. That's what's happening. Do you know what I mean? So I I just, I just kind of like ask you to sort of like open up to all possibilities.
There are other children.
Hang on a second. Where are we here? Mute. There we go. That was a bit weird, wasn't it? Okay, so I just ask that you mute yourselves when you come in the room, guys, because there's a lot of feedback here. So now what's your redirection? And just let your pen go. So what I'm actually asking you to do is to go to a little bit of a channel writing here. So that's going to open the portals for you to go into this new timeline. This is all Ptah stuff, right? Okay, and then you are, after you've channel written that, you are going into a brand new direction. So then I want you to exhale in that meditation after you've journaled. I just want you to breathe into it. And I just want you to go into the acceptance of allowance of letting you be taken. Literally, if you lay in the water and just let the current take you on your back so you can't see where you're going, if you get that kind of feeling, right? And I want you to now, in these moments of transition, I want you to really go into acceptance. So that's what I'm going to do a bit today, really calm our systems, because I feel like my system needs to be calmed and I need to, because it's exciting, but it's also nerve-wracking. And I can feel that there's a big, deep soul stirring. And the bottom line is nobody needs to worry about where they're going because it is ordained. It's ordained. You can fight, kick against it all you want. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've had a couple of calls this week to do with the tablets of light tour, and it's just like, well, stressed out. Like, am I going to get there? I don't know. I have to think about this. And I was like, it doesn't matter, because the thing is, you can chain yourself to the back of the cave. If you're meant to be there, you're meant to be there. And it's like anything. There's no such thing as missed opportunities as well. That also calms your system, because your higher self has got it all basically written out. You got this far. And now, you know what I mean? You're not going to miss anything, right? So it's the same with your Earth Star chakra. Did you know your Earth Star chakra, before you come here, which is about that much beneath your feet in the earth, when you come here, it actually has your whole mission and purpose. Everything is put in there. Your coordinates is actually in the Earth Star chakra. And I liken it to, remember the bumper cars with the big stick and the electricity, when you go like, imagine that the other way. That's how I see this, that it's the other way, that stick is in the ground and it's directing you. And that is why you get a sudden pull to go, I've got to go to Egypt. Jesus, I need to go to Peru. Do you know what I mean? How many of us have woken up and going, I'm going there. And you're like, oh my God. Like the human you is going, no, I'm not. And your higher self is going, yeah, we are. That's what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, we mustn't worry. How many times have you turned up somewhere where you go, well, I be damned, I didn't even know that was prepped for me. And then I always have those moments when I go, do I need to worry about a thing? I mean, I'm married to a Zimbabwean. I lived in England. I was a raver in the 90s. I was stuck in the club, like doing drug addiction. And then all of a sudden, the next thing I blink and I'm actually in Zimbabwe, married to a Zimbabwean man. And like, what the hell? I didn't have a cell phone in those days. How did that happen? How does those things happen? Do you know what I mean? So we really need to let go and let God, right? So it goes back to that trust factor again. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust yourself, okay? Everything is as it should be. And if there's any distortion in between, it's because you're being taught something. The distortion is the guide. So can we also bring that into the mix as well? Because as we go for this very intense time of transition, there's going to be a lot of shadow that comes up because it's what you're not used to. So is it actually distortion and shadow, or is it just unknown? So in the distortion, it will tell you exactly where you're going wrong. It's a directive. So I look at myself, I go, right, I've got my third eye, I have my psychic ability, I have my channeling abilities. I have all my senses around me. I've got all of these gifts and abilities, and also my shadow is one of them. So let's bring that into the mix and think it's actually part of your network that works with you, that navigates the timeline shift. Okay. So I've written here on the last one, transition triggers feeling unsafe. So let's not deep dive into stuff that's not there, okay? It's like anything. If you're going to run out in the street in the nick with no clothes on, you're going to feel a bit vulnerable. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, I don't suggest you do that, but then do what you want. If it's full moon, hey, anything goes. So basically, it's just like exposure makes you feel, oh my God, do you know what I mean? But you're fine. You're fine, just don't have any clothes on. It's okay. You know what I mean? Whatever. So it's like this transition is always going to bring elements, which you're a human. Remember, we got to embrace our humanness, right? Because the human will always feel the emotions, and that's okay too. Because remember, you're here to master the human experience. I tell myself that every single day. So I don't run from my human, I run to her. And I'm like, this is awesome. It's kind of shit, but it's awesome at the same time. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, and you kind of have to soothe your system, right? Because it's okay. It's all going to come out in the wash, right? So that is basically, so now let's go back to Ptah and Sekhmet. Okay. They are divine consorts. All right. So it's an as above, so below thing. With all the stuff I've been teaching of late, Ma'at, Thoth, and the Hermetic principles and everything like that, even we'll drift over Ptah's principles as well, because I did it in the most recent video yesterday. It's all Hermetic principles, all of it. You can look at it and go, oh, okay, there's that as above, so below thing. Yeah. Oh, there's the principle of polarity, meaning everything is one. Oh, there's the principle of gender. So like without Sekhmet, there's no Ptah. Without Ptah, there's no Sekhmet. And they are opposing forces. One is creation, one is destruction. Okay, so the fact that they're so opposite makes it work. Right? If we had creation and creation, nothing would land. If we had darkness and darkness would plummet. If we had light and light, no one would be in physical manifest. We have to have the shadow with the light. We have to have the highs and the lows that leads us to the rhythm of the ebbs and the flows. Okay, everything is just like, getting that stability and balance. Sekhmet will show you all the way through her destructive energy. Ptah will show you all the way through when it comes to anything to do with creation. And you will feel that it just ripples out to all of the principles, including Ma'at. But let's face it, all of these gods and goddesses, all of the Neteru, what are they teaching? Balance in the system. Balance brings harmony, and harmony matches the universe. The universe sees that or feels that, then everything is apparent. You can see it, right? But if you're out of whack, then you got these goggles on. You're like, I can't see shit. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden you're harmonious and you're like, oh my God, gold coins. Oh my God, alignment, first person in the line. Oh my God, Egypt, whatever it might be. So it's not that it's not in our space, it's that we have to attune to the reality. So that always comforts me as well, knowing that I can walk out this door now and everything I have, I need. And if it's not there and for some reason it's not, I need to ask myself, what's going on here? I always check in and go, am I at ease? Am I in a harmonious balance? 9 times out of 10, I'm not. And I'm like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? So it's like these Hermetic principles allow you to kind of like navigate through this. And the bottom line is all of these principles are leading you to presence. So the best way to kind of like really just cut to the chase is to get yourself in balance, deep breaths, so you can hear your breath and it instantly takes you from out there in here. And then you feel yourself as a force field. What I do every day is if you sit there now and you can do it now, and you actually sat there and you can hear your breath, just feel the presence of consciousness in your toes. Feel the energy of aliveness in your fingers. Because when you follow it and you relate to yourself as consciousness, and you can feel that like kind of, it's like a bit of a buzz. Even if you hear your heart in your ears or whatever, even if you've got tinnitus like I've got, which is constantly squealing at me, it's consciousness. And then all of a sudden, when you tap into that, you're instantly connected to the whole of it. You are pure consciousness. You're not separate. You're not broken off. You're like, it's in your physical being. And you just need a physical body to just be here in physical manifest. But what's inside of that is the consciousness. It never broke off. As I sit here now, I'm part of your consciousness. As I speak these words, it's the words of Ptah. This is just a sound and vibration. If I started screaming at you now, it would come with a different vibration and it would do something else with your consciousness. But I'm talking in a very peaceful, soft voice. And it makes us just go into our hearts. And the heart is the ultimate resounding heart of one, which is the consciousness that we can feel between each and every one of us now in this moment. And when you want to let things move through you, take the physical body out of it, that it doesn't hit that brick wall. It's very Eckhart Tolle. He says when you take the physical body out of it and you become like an energy field, you have more of a capacity just to let any low vibration move through you. And it takes practice. Every day, every moment. Even when you're walking, and you stop and you listen to the leaves and the trees, and you feel the wind on your skin, and you become super present with the dog that's barking way back in the other neighborhood. What can you hear? What can you feel? And in that moment, try and have a negative thought. And now I've said that, you'll have a negative thought. But prior to that, no negative thoughts. You can't. The mind is the most powerful, powerful thing. And it has the capacity to create anything right now. If I ask you to visualize being stood in the Isis temple, stood at the back there and you're looking at the sunrise over the Nile, and there's just golden energy all around. and the birds are just singing, and it's so loud because it's sunrise. And you can feel just your heart opening as the sun gets higher and higher. And then all of a sudden, you just feel that you could just add on to that. And everything's okay. And you feel your consciousness ripple out into the world because you're thinking of your beautiful sunset, which has had a heart response, makes you feel warm inside. Maybe it takes you back to old memories of being in Egypt or other places like that, where you remember yourself simply, simple linen clothing, simple, just simple life, without all the noise. And if you can take that feeling, because that was just a visual, but we created a feeling. And if you can hold that feeling and walk with it from the ancient you into the modern you, there is no difference. Energy is energy. So it's about spending more time here than in the noise. This is the new matrix. This is the true matrix. The false one is the one that you're finally stepping out of. The false one is the one that you're letting go of. You did your work there. It didn't mean that you were it. It just meant that you had to do your work there. Like it was an assignment. But now you're being gifted the opportunity. The time has come that you can indeed step into the new timeline. So just open your eyes now and just feel how you feel. Okay? It's kind of simple when we go into it like that, right? And when we connect together like that. And like I've said in our videos, we also weren't meant to do this alone. We're like a beautiful patchwork quilt. Now, how simple is it like this? So I've got a patch of grass, you've got a patch of grass, you've got a patch of grass. My only job, as big as this office, is to water my grass, make it nice. That's it. That's it and that's all. Take the weeds out. I can totally handle this. I don't need a gardener. I can do it on my own. You have the same patch of grass, this size, and this size, and this size. Add on, add on, add on. And then we get overwhelmed as starseeds going, how are we going to change the world? Well, like that. Like that. And then all of a sudden you go, well, that's really easy. It's exactly. And that's what we have to remind ourselves of, because I don't know about you, sometimes my mission gets really big and overwhelming because I'm like, how am I going to do all of this? This is just too much. Then all of a sudden it comes from being creative to an absolute crackpot because I've lost my mind and it's just overwhelming and I just feel buried. And it's like the sunset. I'm just going to say it's the sunset or the sunrise. You know, that's how simple it is. Okay. So. How's everybody feel about that, by the way? How's everybody doing? Yeah? It's okay. Okay,
Love
nice.
it.
Okay.
Loving it.
This
Totally
is
resonates.
oh, that's so good. That's so good. My left ear is burning like a mofo now, so I don't know what they're saying. So yeah. Anyway, I'm just gonna have a swig of vodka.
Like, you don't mind if I wanted to share something real quick?
Go for it, please
Just
do.
that I got a message just the other day and I wrote it. And just as you were explaining things at the start, I thought, oh, wow, on the same page with the Mercury retrograde, there's things to sort of look out for. It was like acceptance of where we stand, willingness to change, open heart to new possibilities, choose what brings you joy, allow what arises to be expressed in stillness and surrender. Yes, it was just things.
Divine.
Yeah, like just felt so much like what you were explaining.
Yeah, well, this is this is the crazy thing,
Nice.
though. So thank you so much for sharing that, because this is why I'm always saying, guys, come talk, talk, talk. Because now on YouTube, when people put comments in, people are like, oh my God, I got this message in my channel writing the day before. And that's how the energy of my channel works, or that's how the vision of my world would like to work. Because then we start echoing back to each other. So speak up, share, more confirmation, even for me, because I'm like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean? Because we're all pulling from the same consciousness. So it keeps backing it up rather than just being the Marie show. It's like now it's all of us show. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that's how we build it. Confirmation, confirmation, confirmation. Now, this is great. So thank you for that bridge and that hook, because now this takes me into mind control. Ooh, taking a bit of a left field here. Okay. Went from beautiful sunset to mind control. Okay, so so this is really important because I believe, and this is like me and Sekhmet were having a fat chat the other day, and she was like, be careful of the poison. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Do you know what? Love a bit of TikTok, love watching funny cats and everything like that. But then all of a sudden the funny cats turn into P. Diddy. And then before you know it, I'm like, what? Do you know what I mean? And you don't realize it. It's so subtle. And then you start doom scrolling. You're like, what am I doing? My head's frying. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, it hooks you in. But I do have the power to kick out again. But it's nonetheless, it's mind control. Now, okay, basically, the human mind is really, really easy to program. Okay. If you want to get into the depths of it to do with like the aliens and all that kind of thing, you know, how we've been controlled by other planets and everything like that. Gaia has now turned into the place of slavery because we had to break free from slavery and all these kind of things. And it's now slowly shifting as we go through the golden age of Aquarius into being known as the planet of manifestation. Nowhere in the multiverse can you manifest as quickly as you can on Gaia now. And it's because Gaia is now going from 3D to 5D. Back in the day when it was Atlantis in the beginning stages, like, you know, when it was good, you know, she was only in 5D and we were in 5D and it was very magical. But this time round, she's 5D, we're 5D. So it's like even more so. So the whole experiment, as they said, is actually moving in the right direction, right? So now, like, there are even races out there that got kicked off the planet because, I mean, 3 strikes and you're out. They got booted off, but now they're still giving it a good whack with a big stick to mind controllers from a distance. So there is a lot of manipulation. That's what Gaia's been seen as. Oh, those oaks there on Gaia, we can like tap around with that and just, you know what I mean? That's been half of the war, right? But then there's us, and we were like, we're coming back. Toth was like, let's do this, let's flip it. Do you know what I mean? And we were like, okay, right? So now mind control is a big thing. Now I'm also going to take it into an inner circle now. Because even sat here now, listening to me, in a way, it's mind control, right? I mean, we could sit here and just go, right, okay, I'm suggesting things to you. And you're like, yeah, that's kind of interesting. You take it in as a resonance, okay? But I really want it to match your inner voice. And then you take it from there. I don't want people to hang on my last word, which is why I say it's the gospel of Marie, because that's my truth. Where does my truth match with yours, and so on and so forth? So it's about being free thinkers, right? This is where the spiritual world got very intercepted because everybody hangs on for the next workshop. Everybody says, okay, there's going to be another thing that's going to help me how to go into deep stillness. But you know what? We're also in the golden age of Atlantis round 2, okay? Atlantis was all about technology. It was divine masculine, right? So we're also in technology again because it's the Atlantis, Aquarius, and it's all to do with technology. What is that? It's AI, right? Can you tell right now whether that's a real audio, a real picture, or whatever? So basically, you can't trust the media, anything out there as truth. So some people would actually freak out about this and go, oh my God, it's just like, it's such a lie. I feel so vulnerable and I'm unsafe and all the things, right? Or this is an absolute divine gift, because if it's all non-truth out there, where is the only place left to go for anyone? Right? So this is what we're here to understand, okay? And then elevate and expand and share with the world, where people say, where did you read that then? No, I didn't. I channeled it. I wrote it, right? Took me a long time, okay? Took me a long time to basically share my channels, because I would write and I'd channel right and I'd go, oh, I don't know about that. Because, you know, I used to watch people that channel that kind of go, oh, and they shake and their eyeballs do that. And I was like, I'm doing it wrong. I don't think I'm doing it right. So I never regarded myself as a channel because I was too busy looking how somebody else did it and brought energy in. And then I was looking outside of myself. But then when I shared my first channel and somebody said, oh my God, that's just how I'm feeling, I was like, oh, maybe I'm onto something here. So I use my outer reality to confirm my inner reality for a short time, because that you do go through that process. But then eventually if I want to know anything now, I started to channel right. And when I started to do that, I had way less healing sessions. I went to less prophets, less tarot readers, because I just knew. And that is where you start to really come online. That's what we're working towards. Now, the thing is, when we do that, then we're able to bring forth our true template of our original essence of who you are. It is so important that we listen to our own inner voice. And that's why Ptah is saying in the beginning, there was the word, there was your word. There was your word. So it's like your word, like this is about having trust for yourself, speaking out loud and knowing that it's fucking valuable. That somebody's going to go, wow, that's jolted me out of a slumber. And then it's up to them or up to us as space holders and teachers to say, yeah, did that wake you up? Now, what do you think about that? What's your truth? And get everybody to kind of like turn inward, right? Because the sickness is coming from listening to others, reading books, which basically don't like, like kind of like putting your hands out and going, feed me. Feed me. If I fed every single homeless person on the street, why would they even try and do something else to better themselves? If I got basically a if my husband got a big wad of cash delivered to the door every day, why bother to even go out and work? But work he loves. He's an entrepreneur. It makes him excited. So all of a sudden, when it's brought to you, why would you get off your ass and do anything to help yourself? Right. So it's about us ourselves and encouraging others to speak their true word. Do not be scared about it. My friend Joshi, who's usually on the call, he's usually here. He sends me his channels all the time. And I'm like, dude, don't send them to me. Put them out there because they are brilliant. I get chills and shivers. And I'm like, wow, so it really is about not worrying about what your expression and where it's landing out there. Just express, because you're putting a vibration of absolute truth and gospel from you out in the world. The universe doesn't listen to the words that you've spoken. It picks up the frequency of authenticity. Yeah. And that's what you're putting out in the world. We keep everything small and tiny. We stay in this world of mind control, right? And it's like, people, that's what needs to change. And that's very Sekhmet. Sekhmet is like, this has got to go. So the only way that we can change this is by striding ahead, being courageous, and being our own Sekhmet self. Right. So that's destroying the chaos. So imagine like now, I just got like, she's just like walking along and just like burning everything up and eating everything like she does. Like imagine her just walking along going, yeah, that's rubbish. Yeah, that's rubbish. Yeah, fuck you, whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that's Sekhmet, right? Wow, I swear too much and she always tells me off for that, but whatever. So now she is just like clearing the ground out the way. What's the first thing you do when you've got to build a beautiful house? You got to clear the ground energy because you don't want to build like geopathic stress clearing. You clear the ground, make it level, make sure it's solid and true before you build a structure, before you build a temple, right? So that's where Sekhmet comes in, because like Ptah's going, hurry up, love. I need to come and land my plan here. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's working with those. So bringing these two gods and this god and goddess in together now. I mean, like one of Ptah's, like, let me just look at his thing here. I wrote something down to do with, it was one of his principles, and it was reliability, unwavering, infinite presence of God. Okay, so that's permanence and reliable. You need to be permanent and reliable yourself. You need to be consistent. You need to have purpose. That's his wife. And you need to constantly take action. Scary, yeah, but only for a short time. Stay where you are. Scary all the time. So it's kind of like, you've got to step forward. You've got to start putting this into action, right? And then just to kind of close up, because we'll do a meditation in a minute, right? So now, where the connection comes in with the Heka codes and everything like that. So the Heka codes is Sia, is the god of perception, right? That's stage 1. Intention plus action equals creation. I've spoken about this a lot. The second one, Josh, how are you, love? I'm just talking about you. Hi, girl. How's it going? No, I love that. So committed. He's at work and he's like, still going to put Marie on. Thank you. So, so intention plus action equals creation. Stick with that formula with everything you do. And we're going to do a bit of that today because I'm going to give you my Hacker Codes formula on how to drop the gods and goddesses into it, right? So, seer is where is all about the vision. Clearing, all your clairs, clairaudience, clairsentience, all of this, right? So you might be sat there and you're like, are you getting the right information? Are you thinking big enough? What's your vision like? Remember, this is now Ptah. Ptah would be classed as seer, the god of perception, who is also a creator god. But it's like the vision has to be really crystal clear and in alignment with your highest good. Okay. So really get clear on something. You know what I mean? And also, as well, I would say to honor our humanness, something that you do think is attainable, because you can't sit there and go, well, I'm going to basically bust out and do $1 million by end of next year. I mean, it's like, you know, in a way, somewhere inside of you is going to say, well, I don't know. But maybe just say, listen, I'm going to activate my gifts and abilities, and some way, somehow they are going to be expressed in the world in the next 2 months. That's more, you know, kind of like doable. And then you get really clear on that, right? Because you don't want to create something that you're going to actually fail on, because you're actually sabotaging yourself. So get really clear on your vision. So Ptah is all about making new realities. So the fact that you're pitching up to the party to activate the Hecker codes and you're going to create something, okay, you are creating a new reality. You're activating your aspect of Ptah, right? Your hands are so sweaty, Mary. I know. We're doing work. We're doing work. You know? So that's what you're going to do. So Ptah's like, right, okay, what are you doing? That's going to be a brand new reality just by you putting the vision in play. Now, number 2 is going to be Hu. Now, this is where Ptah and Hu are very similar. Hu is the divine, okay, and he's the second creator god. But Hu man means divine into the physical. That's where human came from. So he's the god that takes the thought into things. He is the stage of the Hecker codes that would be where you've got the vision, you're going to start scratching around going, do I do a website? Even journaling is bringing your vision into something physical because it's going down on paper. Do you know what I mean? A vision board would be considered the second stage, you know what I mean? Or even bigger, I'm going to go and buy that office building and I'm doing this. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's going to have some air of practicality to do with your landing pad. And that's where you call the gods in. Remember, you're working with the alchemical formula, right? Now the third one is Heka, which is the manifestation. Kaboom, crack, it's happening. So you've had the vision, you've started to like land it in. And then, of course, your manifestation is, what does it look like in the world? What was the end product? You know? And then what's its longevity after that? What does it look like? How are you going to run with it 6 months down the line? So you have your creation, and say it was a website or something smaller like that. So what is the website going to do? Where's your 6-month plan with Heka? How does it live in the world? So you have your website and. Do you know what I mean? So this is your templates on how you work with the Heka magic, right? Now, the way that Ptah and Sekhmet can come in, right? Sekhmet can come in many different ways, right? She can come in at the beginning stage because you might go, right, I need to vision something. And she might just come in and go, stuff this, and start destroying everything because you need to start from scratch. So don't be surprised if Sekhmet turns up in the first stage, right? Ptah might only come in the second stage, but you'll be very, very, very clear how they weave, how they help you. You have a very clear understanding energetically of who Sekhmet is and how she works and what her purpose is. And you have a very clear understanding of Ptah as well. Remember, these gods and goddesses have come with us with very practical things to use to manifest. That's what's happening here, right? What's happened in the past is too many people are just channeling the gods and goddesses. We're no further forward. That's not what we're doing here. We need to get practical now, because remember, in humanity, we are in an action phase. We are now in the action phase where everybody's going, right, I need to show up somehow, right? So now, so how I would suggest that you work with this is up to you, but do the first week, 1 week working on the vision, right? Whatever it is that you're going to bring through. And call in Ptah and Sekhmet to hold the place for you, all right? So every single day, you're going to work on visionary things. Guarantee you're probably going to get a few headaches. because that's how it rolls. Expect the tune-ups because it happens. Guarantee you're gonna have some crazy dreams. You know what I mean? Guarantee you're probably gonna go into a meditation. You're gonna go, holy shit, what was that? Because they're like tuning you up all the time. Now, the 1st of December is the new moon. This could be a great time to start this. Okay. So now the first week, everything to do with vision. The second week, obviously, is going to be everything to do with landing. So you're going to feel a significant shift as you shift out of this visionary, channeling, kind of quite ethereal stage. You're going to start to just feel somebody's going to say to you, oh, do you want me to help you with the website? Or, oh, I know somebody who can help you write books, or whatever it might be. Do you know what I mean? So it will start to like happen that you're now calling it in. But this is the whole thing about manifestation, working with alchemy. You're not supposed to do anything. You're supposed to just call it in. So you are the commander of this space by working with these energies. I mean, alchemy has been around since the stand of time, and it's the energy that built the world. And I think they did well, apart from the people in it, they did quite well. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there's nothing wrong with Gaia, you know. So it's like that is the energy. That's how powerful it is. And we are creative beings. Remember that consciousness that's inside of us? That's Heka, right? So use it. And then the third week is going to be manifestation, you know? So yes, Mary, did you want to speak, Mary? No, it's fine. It's fine.
I just want to say to everyone that when you work with Sekhmet, I mean, like you just said, I just let it go. I put the intention out there, and my mentor asked me if I could join in his class and start teaching, which I love teaching. So I'm gonna start teaching now in his courses.
Um,
So, just put the intention out there, and it just like Maria's saying, it just comes.
yeah.
Just set it and it just comes.
Oh, that's
And don't worry
amazing.
about it.
Thank you so much. That gets me
You're
so
welcome.
excited doing the happy dance because it's one thing to talk about it. And you know, when the person who's sharing it is going, oh, yeah, it works. But you're like, yeah, okay, I roll, whatever. It's only because you're sharing it that you say it works. Don't believe you. Do you know what I mean? But it's so nice that, because I mean, like I've been talking to a lot of people that have been working on YouTube. And this is the thing, guys, right? I have a lots of methods in my madness, right? Now, there's 3 stages to my work. Okay. Now, I was actually going to do a video on this, but I can just speak it out loud now. Basically, the YouTube channel is Heka Codes. Think about it, right? We have the live stream. No, thank you. We have the live stream at the beginning, which is always a ceremony. So we open the space and we have a theme for the month, right? So we've already called it in. Remember, you got to call it in. You have to have an intention. Otherwise, it's a fireman hose and you're spraying shit all over the place and there's energy, but nothing's channeled. Intention is everything. So I call you guys into the live stream. We do something, but this month it was Sekhmet, right? So we've called her in. This is what we're doing. Then I share videos if I'm on top of my game. Some months are better than others. Then I share videos, but each video basically adds to the cauldron mix and frequency and formula. If you work with each video, I am working throughout the month in my brain. I'm going, right, I'm going to drop this in now. Right, I'm going to drop this in now. Right, I'm going to drop this in now until I build the energy in my world. Whether you follow it, that's up to you. But like I build the energy in my world, and then we get to the temple meet, and it's almost like it's built. Boof, and then we come into a more intimate setting, and you should feel significant differences because we started with the intention, okay? Then we did the action, which is basically doing the videos throughout the month, and then creation is boom. When this comes online, you can touch and feel me and I can touch and feel you. We can have a chat and it's a bit more tangible. Do you know what I mean? So it becomes more kind of like more of a manifestation because we can speak to each other. So that's the energy. So the YouTube channel is a sanctuary for those that just want to come and have a light reprieve, but is also for the conscious creators that need to come into a space, have their space held, maybe abundance isn't there, and use it in such a powerful way. And it flipping works. And I'm getting messages from people saying, holy moly, this is blown off for me. That's blown off for me. And I'm like, yeah, because my brain is really quite childlike. It's like I have to do number 1, Do you know what I mean? If you get too complex, then all of a sudden I'm very practical spiritual. And I'm like, sorry, what? And then you start talking and my eyes mist over, and then I'm obviously playing with my shoelaces. You know what I mean? So it's like, I've got to keep it like this, right? So now then, if you want a deep dive, so this is another thing. So for those of you that feel the call and you want to get into a deep immersive experience and you really want to be kind of like held accountable, then of course we have the Hecker Codes mentorship. I only work with those as and when, but that's what that comes into. So you can then go into that phase. And then if you want to, you can actually then go into the biggest expression of the Hecker Codes, which is the Tablets of Light tour. You worked with me before. Then we go to the Tablets of Light tour, which so beginning, intention, what are we doing in Egypt? Then we go to Egypt and we're in the temples. So we're collecting codes and we're foraging and we're doing all those things. And I'm constantly working with these frequencies to help you birth your purpose, right? Then at the end, we still work because I want to make sure that that Hecker is manifested and you now have your landing factor. So there's 3 versions of Hecker, and Hecker is made up of 3 because 3 is alchemy. So it's like constantly I'm weaving that frequency. And if you tap into that, you'll probably find that there's a lot of this weaving already in your own work. You're already Hermetic teachers. You're already alchemists. I didn't realize for a long time when I started to do energy updates years ago that I was like, oh God, I'm teaching the Hermetic principles. It was just took my brain to catch up that that's what I was doing. So you're probably like, sorry, I'm just looking at the message there. So you're probably already doing a lot of stuff already that you just haven't acknowledged. So it's already there. So is there a problem here in the world? Are you doing that badly? No, you're not. Your brain just hasn't acknowledged it, your human self, because we're stuck in that old paradigm, right? So that is Hecker. So I really cannot express enough how powerful those Hecker codes are. 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks. Then tell me how you get on. And you know what? And also as well, if you already have an existing project, right? With the Hecker, intention plus action equals creation. Okay. If you have a project that you did that didn't work out that well, or you've got something you want to put out there and you're a bit like, oh, I don't know whether this is going to work. You know, like an oracle card, some people put their hand over slow and they want to pick a card and it's like you want to feel the heat, right? You can do that with Hecker. So if you imagine it down there, and you've got this, this, and this, place your idea in your mind's eye and land it onto that template. And then feel as you go through, was it the vision? Was I thinking big enough? Yeah, vision feels okay. Okay, what happened here? Oh, could be that the planning stage, something was a bit wobbly there. You might find a bit sticky. Okay, so hone in on the hue stage, have a look at that, and then find out what went wrong with that project. Or you might find that that's good. And then the end phase could be that the platform wasn't big enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like your landing pad was too small. So you're going to be quite surprised as to how much information Hecker can give you in that template alone. Even beyond working through the process to create something, put your creations on it and it will speak to you and say, there's the issue. So it's very, very powerful like that, you know? So you're going to be using Ptah and Sekhmet in that way. So when there's stickiness that comes up, for example, most people get stuck on the second stage, but the hue stage, because now easy to do intention. Yeah, I'm intending this and I'm intending that. And then all of a sudden you're like, right, I've got to step out there. And you're like, ugh. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? We get stuck, right? So it's usually that landing bit that is the stickiest part, but that's where you bring Sekhmet in and you say, right, feeling shit, feeling uncomfortable. And that's why Hecker's great. But then when you bring in the gods on top of it, she just burns it away. You know what I mean? And then you sit with that nut in the gut, the shadow nut in the gut, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? You'd be surprised. Oh yeah, you don't want to step out because of ... you know? So it's very, very powerful. And you can stay there in that incubator cauldron womb space for as long as you want until you feel healed enough to now step and continue on to the Hecker stage. Do you know what I mean? But I think that when we have these manifestation templates, which is alchemy, when we have that, it helps us work very orderly. You've got to remember, okay, love. Yeah. You've got to remember that energy likes order. So creation is the divine feminine and the divine masculine is the divine masculine template. So in a way, we're talking about Ptah here. Ptah is the divine masculine. He's the architect. He needs to build that structure, but she's bringing in all the, all the creative codes. Because remember, Sekhmet's flames also for ignition for creation, but her flames are also for destruction as well. You know what I mean? So she's going to help you. You're going to learn so much about her in you. Because remember, you are Sekhmet. You are Ptah. You are Thoth. You are all of it. You know what I mean? You are aspects of them, okay? Because we go back to that consciousness that we know ourselves to be. It's all in there. So there's absolutely no reason why we should fear where we're going, because we have the power tools to work with this now. Do you know what I mean? How does that land? Because that was a lot, wasn't it? How does everybody feel about that? Does it make sense? Like working with the layers, Yeah. And then equally so as well, guys, you listen, keep it open. You might actually, okay, great. Makes good sense. You might find that, I don't know, Ceridwen comes in or Merlin or whatever. Just go with it, because the Heka codes Heka is Egyptian magic and medicine, but I mean, they don't, whatever. Do you know what I mean? You might have Mother Mary come in and help you. So allow it to be a portal to open up to your divine genius. You know what I mean? Because alchemy is basically, it's cross-pollinates. It's multicultural. It doesn't belong anywhere. It's just there. Do you know what I mean? So it can fit anything, right? Absolutely anything. You got to go out and give a talk, a spiritual talk, use the 3-step alchemy. It'll help you keep organized. Got to go and write, somebody's asked you to write a short something. Oh God, what I'm going to speak about. Intention plus action equals creations. Brings natural flow to your writing. It's got to have an intention. What are we talking about? It's got to have some middle bits, and it's got to have a purpose to it where it's going to help me, which is what I said to somebody the other day. I was like, if you're going to do a video, don't just do a video. It has to have some help, some depth to it, and a conclusion. Otherwise you're sat there and like, okay, you know what I mean? It's got to have like a balloon pop moment, that's Heka, right? So I said ages ago we're going to do meditation, but we totally are now. I talk so much nonsense. Never believe me. When I was an exercise specialist, I used to say, right, 2 more minutes, guys. And they'd be like, don't even lie. And I'd be like, my poor client. Can you imagine? Can you imagine me as a trainer? It was awful. I was like, yeah, you feel your muscles burn, let me tell you. Now you just feel your energy burn. Right, so before I go into a meditation, is anybody having... Oh, I'm so glad. Thank you, Danielle. Because sometimes I just it's the world according to Marie, and I just wonder if anybody can stick with it. But you guys all, that's why we're here, right? Because you get it, you pick it up. Now, does anybody have any problems? Can I help in any way? Is anybody getting up to is anybody hitting any brick walls or anything like that? Anything that they need help with? It doesn't matter if you don't want to speak up, but it's like everybody's like, because what I share does kind of speak for itself and it comes out in the wash. But but in any of these groups, if there's anything that you specifically want help with, even if it's before the groups, and you can say, Marie, I am struggling with X, Y, and Z. Can we talk about it in the temple? I will always weave it in. And also as well, the chances are it's very much to do with what we're talking about on the call anyway. Do you know what I mean? So, please feel free that you can actually do that, right? So now, we're really going to bring the embodiment of Ptah in, okay? And we're really going to bring the embodiment of Sekhmet in. And now I know we've done a lot of Sekhmet work, but we're going to bring the two in together, because I think that the difference for me, how I feel with Ptah is I've felt... Okay, let me just give you the Gospel of Marie. Okay, so basically, this since Ptah's come in, I have been doing a lot of inner child work, and like anything, absolutely no shade whatsoever. But we come from our parents, and they're our immediate belief bringers for whatever it is. So it's show me somebody that doesn't work through the parental thing, right? The ancestral thing, right? So I've always carried a lot of my mother's energy. Now this time, my dad came into the mix. at the same time that Ptah came in. And what happened was I was really unable to bring the inner child home because I hadn't in my physical life like addressed the father side of it here. So at the same time, Ptah came in and I had this beautiful divine balance. So I'm going to echo that with working with Ptah and Sekhmet, because it's all well and good working with the ethers, but the power of Ptah and Sekhmet is being able to work with them in your everyday life, like sat next to you having a cup of coffee, like what we're doing. That's the way it should really, really feel. You know what I mean? So we can really, really work closely with these beings, right? And they can help us. When we glorify them too much and everything like that, we keep them at bay. And then it's very watered down experience, right? So bringing Ptah and Sekhmet in now is going to bring you a really deep feeling of support and balance. Like you got two parents there. You know what I mean? And it's not just Sekhmet. It's going to make complete energy sense to you. So I kind of in this meditation want to just bring that in because I really want to work with the safety aspect of the transition that we're going through. Because if we feel safe inside, then everything is tickety-boo, right? So yeah, so let's get ourselves comfortable. And then we're going to go in for a meditation with Ptah and Sekhmet. Okay. Okay, so now getting yourselves comfortable. Okay, and then just making sure that your feet aren't crossed and that your hands aren't crossed. You may put your palms to the ceiling if you wish, or you can place your palms on your thighs, whatever makes you comfortable, okay? So if you can, make sure that your spine is straight. And as always, we're going to do our 3 power breaths to just really, really empty out any residual air and energy. So we're going to take a nice big deep breath in and exhale. One more breath, inhale and exhale. And then one more big breath, last one. Hold it all the way to the top. Hold the breath and exhale. And just feel all of your energy just settling down. Settling down. Now, as you take some nice, long, slow, deep breaths, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the nose. Inhale and slow exhale through the nose. I want you to really slow it down. Breathing in, allowing the belly rise, the chest to rise. Pausing at the top and then slowly exhaling. You may want to close off the back of the throat now. Bringing in the Ujjayi breath or the ocean breath. And remember, Ptah is all about the breath, the spoken word. So bring sound to your breathing. It's your consciousness. It's your divinity. Now, in your mind's eye, visualize yourself walking. And you're in an inner city. And as you walk, not what is expected, but you look down at your little feet. And you have the tiniest little shoes on. And you're walking and lots of adults around you, people towering above you. You find it hard to look up at the sky because you're so little. So it's very, very clear that you are a child. And as you are walking now, it's getting busier and busier. And the cars are getting louder and louder. And as you walk, you get bumped. You're getting knocked over, and there's no one there to protect you. There's no one there to hold your hand. And the more you walk now, you become very well aware of this anxiety, this kind of feeling of just being exposed. And you look up at the sky beyond the people and you can see the blue sky and You wish for that. You will for that. Eventually, you find yourself walking off the pavement, the sidewalk, getting knocked over, and you find yourself a little step. And you sit on the side of the step. And you're just sat there feeling so lonely, feeling so lost. And as you put your little head in your hands, you curl up in a tiny ball. And you start to create and imagine a different place to hear. Still, the chaos is going on around you. And then suddenly you feel something sit next to you. And it's definitely not human. And as you open one eye, there is a dog that's come and sat right next to you. And he's cuddled into you and he's leaned into you as if he's like pressing on you. But you can feel that he's actually looking after you. And here you are in this urban inner city, and you look at this little dog. He's quite a big dog, actually. And as you look deeply into his eyes, you see timelines, realities. And this dog is jet black. And suddenly you feel this remembrance and familiarity from such a protective animal. You get flashbacks. You see Egypt. And you now know that this dog who sat next to you in this current timeline is Anubis. Suddenly your heart relaxes a little. You're not so tense. But still, you have your head in your hands. This dog gets up and he walks. And he stops and he looks behind him. He looks behind you and he pauses. And you are to follow him, and you do. So as you walk now, following this dog that is apparently Anubis in modern day form, you follow him. But now you're walking against the crowd. So you're saying this is actually getting more intense. This is getting harder. But you keep the faith and you trust. You keep following this dog, nothing short of holding on to its tail, because you're starting to say, you know what? I don't trust anything else, but this animal is here and I feel this connection in my heart. This is Anubis, and this beautiful black dog is leading you, but it's pushing you through the crowds. People are tripping over you, getting bashed over, worse than it was before, but it matters not. You keep walking. And then suddenly there is an almighty roar. And in this urban street, people scatter everywhere, and you're just clinging on to this dog. You cannot believe how many people are just running, and there is just screaming and shouting. And suddenly you look up, and in this modern day timeline, there stands the goddess Sekhmet. Anubis, this beautiful black dog, just sits, stares up at this beautiful goddess, and starts to howl. And Sekhmet is clearing the streets and just clearing the way around you. She grabs you, she pulls you into her heart, like pulls you out of the chaos. And then you look to your right, Anubis has become the Jekyll, half human. He is transformed into his Egyptian self. And then suddenly there is an absolute cataclysmic explosion as she roars the most loudest you've ever heard. And then you are in a completely different timeline. A timeline which is actually nothingness. You have not jumped anywhere, but you are not where you were. It's this beautiful white light space. Sekhmet still holds you to her bosom. Anubis stands silently, towering above the two of you, because he's a big god. He doesn't say much. His presence is literally awesome. He's so big. And you're still this little child. But all of this white light energy, you look up into Sekhmet's eyes, tears streaming down your face, happy that she's got you, but also confused and a little bit frightened. And you say to her, Mother Sekhmet, where are we? Why are we here? She said, it's time, child. It's time for you to choose something else. It's time. That's all she keeps saying to you. And she places you down on the floor. And you literally put your little hand up and you're holding onto a little finger, this little you. Your heart's beating in your chest. You know you're safe, but you kind of don't know what's going on. And then suddenly, there is just a quiet presence. And there is much blue light that comes around. And in walks this very powerful being. A very masculine energy. Sort of powerful, but not scary. It's a presence. It's a powerful essence. But he's in physical form. And Ptah strides forward now. And suddenly you are stood between two phenomenal gods and goddesses, Ptah and Sekhmet. As you stand and you look up at these two very large beings from your little self, you see the love from her eyes into his, and you see the love from his eyes into hers. Your eyes are now really tuned up to frequency, and you can feel the heart codes that exchange between them. And energy. You see Sekhmet's fires come alive, her passion, her love for this being, and also for this being Ptah for her. This is powerful. And Anuba's still there guarding your space. And as they stand staring deeply into each other's eyes, they then look down at you. And Sekhmet picks you up once more. And as she stands next to Ptah, she's holding you in your arms. And then she looks into Ptah's eyes, as he did her. And there's this powerful connection. And like a little child in mum and dad's arms, you look up. And as they deeply look into one another's eyes, suddenly they merge. And she's still holding you. And as they merge, you merge with them. And their hearts bond as one. The beautiful mergence of the opposing forces of Ptah and Sekhmet, heart of one. And you are in the middle of this. And you get washed up and whirled up in all of this heart energy, beautiful, sublime mixture and divine frequency exchange of divine power, creation and destruction, ignition of creation is what Sekhmet is. That's a pure blend of Ptah. And Ptah is just like creation and fire in himself. He's a creator God. And you are now part of that. And as they merge, and you merge, suddenly you're stood there. And you are vibrating at such a high level. You allow your eyes to adjust. There is no more Sekhmet and Ptah in physical form. Anubis still stands, quietly guarding your space. A presence, an infinite presence always. But here you stand, still in this white space of nothingness. Clearly stepped out of the chaos of the old timeline, but here you are in this no timeline. And then you hear the voice. Ptah, he speaks. Divine being, divine child. We are within you. We are around you. We are here with you. Always. You hold my love, my codes, my joy, my vision. You can see what I see. My eyes are your eyes. And then you hear Mother speak. Divine child of mine, you hold the courage, the fire, the tenacity, the pure, pure passion for all that there is, to live by Ma'at, to create the new world, the new timeline. And I am within you. I am your lion's heart. And you have these two beings inside of you, and you feel them merge at will and wash around inside of you. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful feeling. And now Anubis steps in. and he steps behind you because now you are being called to step forth. But where to? This is white. There's nothing going on. And then the guidance comes in. You are being asked now to create the new timeline. For you have just been pulled out of the false matrix, the chaos, the loneliness, the separateness, not being protected, the noise. That is now gone. So you are here where you're being challenged, ignited, pressed, prompted, whatever you want to call it. You're now being called to say, take responsibility. You are the creator because they are within you. The opposing forces of destruction and creation, they are within you. They're in your fingertips. They're in your heart, your mind, everything. What do you create? What does it look like in front of you, this blank canvas? What does your new life look like? And I'm going to call it in now into 2025. In your life, what does it look like? A redirection, something brand new you must choose for yourself. If you are in fear, you are now in courage. If you are in pain, you are now in joy. If you are in doubt, you have extreme clarity. You cannot go back. So what does the future timeline hold for you? And then suddenly, it's like the Akashic records. There's this beautiful depiction of like a hologram. A movie is playing out from your heart and from your third eye. So there is basically what's happening is your blueprint is playing out. Your higher self, your higher being, your tablet of light is playing out to you exactly what it looks like. What comes to you? No thought, just vision. What do you see? What's your movie? Allow it to come. Feel yourself 365 degrees looking all the way around. What do you see? Maybe first of all, it could be just a beautiful green tree. And then you build up to a mountain. Or maybe it's a different country. Or maybe it's a different job. Or maybe it's just a happier you. So now I call you forth. What is your promise as you stand in this realm? You are now witnessed because Anubis is the keeper of secrets. He is the custodian and the guardian of the halls of Amenti, the halls of learning. He is also an upholder of Ma'at. He is, most of all, he is the opener and the bringer of the way. So he opens new passages for us. That's why he's here. So now, Ptah, Sekhmet, Anubis, he stands forward, just letting his presence known to you a little bit more. What passage, what part does he open for you now? I'm going to leave you to just sit in this for a moment. Just allow what comes, come. There's a strong presence of Thoth that's also coming as well. I have a lot of green emerald around. And Thoth is speaking a lot about the emerald tablets of light, the tablets of light, which each and every one of you has. And he's saying that some of it will be revealed now, but some of it will only come to light as of next year. which is just around the corner. But what must be understood is that you don't have to do anything. You just have to be. And that is what the understanding of the Hermetic principles and obviously the templates that are shared with you must bring. So his message is refrain from running this through your minds, because mind will just bring frenzy and frenetic and doing. It is in the stillness and the acceptance that you are an emanation of pure green emerald power, that by being where you are now without doing a thing, it's about recognizing, allowing yourself to see who you really be. So as soon as you action what has been shared and it becomes arduous, then you know that you are moving through the mental body. This is frequency. It's not accessed in that way. So now it comes back to trust, which we have spoken about a lot in this group. Trust that in the stillness and the inaction is where the action happens. So this is why desensitizing the body and calming the nervous system and being in presence often, as much as you can, will open passage for what needs to come through. Through being still brings anxiety, through the fear that you are not protected, but you have left the old timeline alone. You've moved away from it. Presence is the key. Stillness is the key. And through times of being disengaged from devices and technology over the festive period that is incoming, this will be where your divine sight, this will be where it really comes through. Just enjoy. Just enjoy. So now, I'm going to call you guys gently back in to the place where you're sitting. And for any of you that want to journal a little bit there, if there's anything come through, because if you recall it, it will probably be forgotten because it's so high vibe. So yeah, that was very strong. There was a lot of green. A lot of green. That's the true test, isn't it? It's about being super, super, super still now. And just allowing it to come through. It was crazy, wasn't it, that energy? I did not expect to go to the city. I always expect to be in Egypt. So when I'm in anywhere else, I'm like, why are we here? I was like, I don't want to be in London. It felt like London. I was like, what are we doing here? Where's all the gods and goddesses? It's like, where's pyramids? You know? So yeah. So this is very inner child stuff, clearly. Very, very inner child stuff. So it goes, so let me summary. Marie loves a checklist. Inner child. Every day you wake up, I trust myself. I am safe. I trust myself. I am safe. That is all. Stillness. Coming away from TikTok and things like that, or reducing it down at least, right? Mind control. Read if you want to read, 100%, but don't read because you need to know more. Because all of this blocks, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Just seeing the messages. All of this blocks what our whole purpose of this now is, allowing your inner voice to come out. So your homework, working with Ptah and Sekhmet, I want you to channel right until you get a nosebleed, right? Well, actually, maybe don't do that. That was actually quite brutal. But you get the idea. Do you know what I mean? I want you to, most days, start channel writing. Buy your altars and everything like that. Ask the question. I mean, everybody knows how to channel write. If they don't, it's just a question. Oh, it's so easy. I thought that it was so difficult. It's actually not. And you know the story, you write a question, you try and answer it, and then all of a sudden your pen's going super fast and you'll just start to channel write something. And don't doubt it, And some days it will work, and some days I've thrown my pad across the room and gone, whatever, what a load of shit. Do you know what I mean? And that's okay. And then you walk away and go and walk the dog, right? But every time you write something, you know how it is. You're going to go back and read it, and it's going to be profound. That is going to be what you're going to share next week. You're all teachers, you're all space holders here. And if you're not, you should be. You know what I mean? Because every single one of us are wisdom keepers, so we don't want to be hanging on other people's words anymore. Gospel of you for days, period, right? So we are here to create that new timeline. So if we are putting the energy out of us being free thinkers, then those that come behind us will do exactly the same. Yeah? Any questions? How's everybody feeling? As we'd say in England, how are you feeling in yourself? How's everybody doing? All right. Yeah? Okay. So I'm gonna leave it there. Okay. And I'm gonna and then of course, just to sum this up, I'm gonna obviously be going to Egypt on Thursday. And I'm going to be doing a walk to the Mut temple, and I'm going back to see, like I said, I've been called to head office, and I think for the first time ever, it's not to be told off by Sekhmet. I think she's actually got something for me, so I'm very excited. So I'm going to be there for a week. So I'm going to be sharing lots of bits and pieces with you. Now, just a heads up, next month is Avalon and Egypt month. Okay, so now we really are going to be weaving it in. So we're bringing look, it's so divinely timed, because Avalon is very much the heart. So the tours and retreats I do is Egypt and Avalon, because the two are infinity. So you could regard that Egypt is the fire, and then of course Avalon, you've got the water. So when we start weaving the two, it's going to make so much sense. And in a way, with this coming in now for the month of December, in light of what we've just done, inner child stuff, beginning to trust, stepping onto the new timeline, this is the perfect time to bring the womb healing in for Avalon. So it's gonna be a very beautiful mix, those two together. Do you know what I mean? And I'm going to be teaching a lot to do with the three cauldrons as well. So the three cauldrons, once again. So Mary, you know about the three cauldrons. Okay. So the three cauldrons, again, it's alchemy, and it's working with those three cauldrons gives you a directive on what to do down on the lower one, middle one, upper one. And again, it just gives you a map and compass. So I think you're going to quite enjoy that. And working with Awen, which is all about inspiration and creation codes and everything like that. Again, it's another power of three. So I think it's just going to resonate, So thank you so much for hanging out with me in the temple. Okay. And I will be seeing you around and about on YouTube. And then the next live, obviously I'll be doing it on 12/12, because 12/12 obviously is the next portal. You know what I mean? So that will be when we do the live stream for the 12/12. And then when we get to January, I'll change the times, because we've got to wait for some time for good dates to come along. Do you know what I mean? So whatever. But thank you so much for you all hanging out with me. And I really do hope that magic lands. And I will see, you're so welcome, Vanessa. And I will see you all soon. Okay. Much love, guys. See you later. Mwah. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.